When I went to massage school, there were a lot of parts and concepts of my courses and my classes that didn't really pertain to exactly massage. But as they informed me, when I mentioned, like, why are we having to dissect a pig and the cow eye and the heart and all these things? Now I'm like, am I going to open my clients on the table? They informed me that that's the anatomy class that they had at the moment, and that made sense to me, and I was happy to do it even though I felt it was not applicable. I do believe that later on the classes that followed were not required to do the dissections in the anatomy course. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it happens a lot that that's what's available, so that's what you got to take, and that completes the certification, so I was happy to do that. So I'm Vivian Price. This is Stratosphere Empowered Wellbeing. Welcome. And today we're going to talk about tanking the grade. So in the example of massage therapy, I was not willing to tank the grade. I did everything to achieve the grade. I even had kind of like a health crisis. I had kind of like a chemical attack from the late nights and eating a lot of sugar. I don't drink coffee, so it really affects me when I do. And so I was doing sugar to be able to stay awake to get the assignments in. I did thrive on, the deadlines and having to turn it in. I was excited when I would complete things, but I did realize that they had compressed what they told me was a 2-year course. They had compressed it first to a year course, and then since we were in COVID, they had compressed the year course into 6 months. So I was doing a whole anatomy class of what I thought was the value of 2 years in 6 months, and it was just massive cramming. I didn't really get to enjoy it how I would have liked to, but I figured I'd go back and do it later on. Thankfully, it was the only class I was taking, so I still had my chemical attack on November 6th of 2020, and I ended up in the hospital, and they did all kinds of exams on me, and they couldn't find what it was. And I did think it was a little bit ironic that we're studying health, relaxation, how people to keep a balanced lifestyle and integrate with, massage and healthcare. And here I was literally taking myself to the hospital trying to learn about it. So now I'm in my entrepreneurship course. And first off, to say that Tank the Grade is entirely about you, is entirely about yourself. And you have to own it and say, this is not about I'm having something going on with the professors. This is not about something about me struggling with the academia. I proved I did the academia. All of us can do it. So it's more of a thing of, where is the priority of my time going, and how excited am I about spending my time doing that particular thing? If all of us had our way, I've heard now, speaking with several people behind the scenes about their experiences in college and learning, in job, in relationship. I mean, this goes all the way to all the layers of life, where we refuse to tank the grade because we want the grade, we want the relationship, we want the job, we want the career. And this seems to be the only way to get it, is to submit to the guidelines that have been given to us and that are made to measure that. Now, a little side note with the working of my relationship, how it applies there. When I was in therapy, I modified, I could see from the outside now, from a therapeutic view, how much of myself I had modified to try and keep this relationship. And my affirmation and my assignment was, cuando te veas como eres, más te vas a querer. When you see yourself how you are, but we'll translate it to who you are, more than you will love yourself, which basically, that's who you can love. You can love who you are. You can intensely be excited about who you are. It is such a challenge and an energy drain to wake up and try to love something about you that is not you. You have fabricated this part. You're making yourself do something to hold on to something or someone. And then you're wondering, why am I suffering from depression? This is one of the biggest catalysts for starting the spiral downward, when we have moved out of who we are to try to sustain something. Now, I was in academia. I was a teacher for 15 years, and I'm not saying that this is a motivation to, this is not against schooling and education. This has nothing to do with that. This is wonderful, beautiful, and we need more of it, right? We need more learning, more implementation, more reading. This is all yes, right? But what it's saying is, not everything that's being taught is exactly tailored for every single person. We know this, and we experience this in classes in school. Every single person who has gone through an education system knows that there was one or two things that were not particularly awesome for them, but you can see how other people are enjoying or thriving in that area, right? So it has nothing to do with that was wrong and this is the right path. It has to do with you identifying what is your path for you, and when are you going to decide to work smarter and work instead of harder, right? Or how much busy work am I willing to put in? It's not busy work for everyone. It's busy work specifically for you, because that is not your area of passion. So when you wake up in the morning, there was this great example of what's the number that wakes you in the morning. So this is like money mindset going. But taking it from number, imagine what's the assignment in your dashboard that has you excited to wake up in the morning. And this will make you reflect on, it's this one, or it's that one, or not really any. Like, notice for yourself what you're excited about so you can see the turning point. This brings us to another question I asked one of my friends. She got divorced after 6 years, and we were just talking about it, and she's like, I knew all along, and I couldn't she couldn't tank the grade, right? She couldn't tank the relationship. She was just holding on. And I said, when did you know? When did you know that the thing was done for? She's like, around the end of the second year. And I'm like, you knew at the end of the second year that this relationship was tankable, and you pulled through 4 more years, double the time that she was together. Now, it could be the chicken and the egg. You could say she identified it and therefore she doomed it herself because she had already decided in her mind, this is going the wrong way, and that helped take it that way. Or you could say she identified it, and then it's the case of this video, right? That she just hung on because that's kind of what we do, right? We're gonna try to make it work and modify ourselves because we want to hold on to something. All of us want to have a good grade, right? I claim to say I might be one of the few people that was never interested in the grade. I informed my instructors. I said, in high school, I never even picked up my high school report card. I actually didn't pick up any of my report cards from high school, and my mother had to go get them. And I was so confident in my execution of my tasks that there was no need. It was the same now going through massage therapy. I had no need to go back and check. I had completed it to the fullest and with the full capacity of the passion and the time that I could in that moment. And I was confident that it was gonna be okay. And all I needed to know at the end when we go take your NBLEX there is that they're like, you passed. And I said, that's nice. A lot of people were very frustrated because they're like, I want to know my grade. And other people were like, I want to know what I got wrong so I can know what that was. But you can't ask them afterwards because I guess other people tell other people what's on the exam. And I thought it was an interesting concept where they just tell you pass, fail. And I was like, all right, I passed, right? That's what the goal was. And here I am, and I can legally practice massage therapy. So the point with my friend's example was what action was taken, for example, at the 2-year. Or I'm in the end of the first quarter. We got an assignment that kind of threw me, and I said, wow, I really feel like my time could be used in a better direction for my project of stratosphere empowerment well-being. And am I going to make this choice? Am I going to make this decision because it will affect my grade? But I also said, that is the project. The project is recognizing what's lowering my vibration and what is lifting my vibration. So what's subtracting from me and what's adding for me. And I want to do more of the things that are adding. So in the end, it has nothing to do with, is the assignment good or not? Is it relevant? Everything is wonderful and beautiful in the academia. Like, thoughtful instructors have put together all of our assignments, all of your assignments, whatever it is you're doing, whether you're in high school, university, even at work. You're like, oh, he had me to do this task or whatever in your job. For that person, that task is important. No, all of these things are important. So where does the road split? Where you say, is this adding to me or subtracting for me in terms of my passion, my scale of time, and what I could actually be executing at this moment. Now, don't go on a full energy binge about it. Like, a lot of people take a yoga class, their first 2 or 3 yoga classes, and they're so moved energetically, internally, that they'll quit their jobs, they'll leave their spouses. I've heard everything. Also been teaching yoga for 10 years, and I have seen some major shifts in people with that frequency shift. But what it's saying is know thyself, right? Yoga is the connection between you and yourself. And of course, once you know yourself, you might notice that you all of a sudden just like appear in Oz, right? It's like in Kansas, you're not in Kansas anymore, you're in Oz, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a totally different world than I thought I was living in. But you finally connected with yourself, and so the veil is lifted and the reality is exposed to you in a different way. So measure and meditate on the people around you and those who are affected. And by all means, if you're able to sustain the grade, sometimes you can do it. There's no need to tank the grade. Then do that. Do that, right? Do both. Be like, oh, it's kind of like one of my pastors told me once. He's like, you have to have 1 foot in the earth and 1 foot in heaven. You can't totally be fanatical, devoted, God, this and that. You turn everyone off, right? And if you're entirely in the earth, then there's a component in a side of you that is missing, unfulfilled, hollow. So it's this balance of having 1 foot in one place and 1 foot in the other. And this is the optimal grounding. And then from that position, deciding, do I need to tank this grade? Do I need to tank this relationship? Do I need to tank this job? Do I need to tank where I'm living, all of those things. It's the moment of clarity where that comes up. And there will happen something precise and specific that will let you know if you're at that point. That was that point for me in class when I realized that the assignment had really subtracted for me. And I said, I am capable of so much more. I can do so much more towards this. So my goal in this case specifically is, what's the assignment being offered to me? What's my time frame today, right now? What's the optimal thing that I can get out of this assignment and turn in? It might not even look what the instructor has told us. That's why it might tank the grade. It might not even look like that, but this is not denial of the work. This is optimizing the time. So you're saying, I'm willing to put in the time and I'm willing to put in the effort for something that excites me and wakes me up in the morning and makes me want to do this. We want to be excited about it. It's entrepreneurship, right? We're going out on our own. This is, wow, right? And yeah, I got a whole energy rush there because I am fully excited about this career and this emprendimiento. It's radical. It's radical what we're doing. And that was my offering for today. I did go over my 10 minutes was my goal. We made it in 16. Hope you enjoy. If you missed what I'm doing, what I'm working on, episode number 1, which is what it is to become a YouTuber. You can find it in the trend. Then there's number 2 and number 3. And this is my video number 4. I will see you all in the next video, number 5.